break. Now we will meet Emer Reynolds, the director of the fantastic documentary Songs for While I'm Away, that premiere in Sweden in October, I think.
October 23rd.
Yeah. And along with me, we have Per Olsson, who have worked with Emer on the film. So, good evening, Emer. Are you with us?
Good evening. Good evening. How are you all? That was a fantastic version of Jailbreak.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was. So, you did a fantastic documentary this year about Philip. We're very
Thank you.
grateful for it. I've seen it 3 times already, actually.
Great. Thank you.
To start with, what is your relation to Philip and Thin Lizzy and his music?
Well, I guess like all Irish people, or certainly all Dubliners, great love affair with Phil and Thin Lizzy since I was a small girl. You know, anyone growing up in Ireland, in Dublin in particular, in the 70s and 80s in Ireland, couldn't but be a huge fan, real hero, real local hero here. And I was a fan. I became a fan was introduced to their music around when I was about 14 or 15, by my first serious boyfriend, and who was a big Lizzy fan, and just, did all the proper fan stuff, had all the albums, deconstructed all the albums, favorite songs, arguing over the lyrics, all the rest, and, culminated in, I only ever saw him once, but it was a great one to see. I saw their very last gig in Dublin on the final year that Lizzy toured. They continued playing in Europe for a few more months, finishing in Germany in '83, but their final gig in Dublin was in the spring, March or April, I think, in the RDS, and I was at that gig, and like everybody else, cried all the way through it, not thinking we'd never see him again. I thought they would maybe take a little break for a little while. He'd carry on doing solo stuff, and then they'd be back in a few years, but sadly that wasn't to be the case.
No. So, did you ever meet Philip in person?
I was too young, but I had a vague brush with him because my then boyfriend's brother was organizing something in a TV station here, and he asked me to come in and mind Sarah if she needed somebody to help mind her, but that didn't happen, so I was kind of in a room when he went past. But it was great.
Close enough.
Yeah, exactly.
There have been rumors about the Philip Lynott movie for many years. How come that it was you who finally made it?
Stroke of great fortune more than anything else. Really, really good luck. As you say, certainly I know of 3 or 4 films that have been wanted to be made over the years, fine directors, and a lot of, dramas and documentaries, and always been talked about, but never seemed to just take off, never seemed to just hit the moment. And I was approached about making this film by one of the producers, Alan Marr, who had heard I was a Lizzy fan, and I think admired my previous film, which wasn't, in this department at all, although it was a feature doc. And when he asked me, and I think, how did I come to make it? I was at the right moment in the right time, but also it was the right time to make the film. Somehow it just became the time when it could be made. Various things had changed in, the license holders or people who were ready to maybe make this film, and that's how I came to be. And as I said, just great fortune for me being a fan, and couldn't wait to dig in and really try to understand more about the man behind the image.
Yeah. Are you pleased with the result? Is it the story that you wanted to tell about this amazing and multifaceted man?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with it, because I feel, it's got its flaws, and certainly as the director, you're only, I'll be more aware of flaws, and that's only right. You're never going to be really happy. I think they say in filmmaking that you never finish a film, you just abandon it, that you come to a time when you can't keep working on it. So I probably could have continued working on it for much longer, but it's good to have a an end point. So I'm very happy, particularly because I think it has a huge amount of heart, you know,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's yeah, and that's what I wanted. You know, and this is no disrespect to rock docs in general, because I love them and I would love a lot, but we were less interested in that. We were more interested in making a sort of a poetic portrait, you know, a sort of a portrait of the human being behind the music. So given that we were able to do that, particularly because of the quality of the contributors, the people who decided to take part, I'm very happy with the film.
Yeah, we are as well. So, well, you said it yourself. The most important thing you wanted to tell with your film, but it's the man behind it all, in a way.
Yeah, I think, I mean, some of this is coming from me as well. Because I was a fan, I really just knew the Philip I saw on stage, you know, and he was so confident, he was so sexy, he's such charisma, you know, and I bought that image fully. I just thought that's who he was. So to be able to roll back a little and sort of reveal the, all the characters behind that image, you know, all the parts to his personality,
Yeah.
and in particular to be able to reveal the depth of the songwriting, you know, that I think they're known for, quite rightly, the big hits, the big loud numbers, as well as some, you know, key softer ones like Sarah or Dancing in the Moonlight, which is pretty, you know, poppy. But I think they're seen as kind of hard rock, whereas actually he has in the canon and all of his work, if you can deconstruct it well, you find a huge amount of depth and poetry to the songwriting that I was really keen to you know, to reveal and to discover for myself as well, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Was it anything specific with Philip that you discovered during this film that surprised you about him?
How shy he was surprised me. As I said, I bought that confident, in control of the audience performer. And then to realize and to hear his friends and his family talk about how shy he was, that he almost created that image, that personality, that rocker persona, you know, that he invented it as a kind of a vehicle through which he could be on stage, be a particular type of person that he could hide behind, and didn't have to fully reveal himself, as Adam Clayton from U2 says in the film, you know. So I didn't know that, which was great to discover, because I'm pretty shy myself. So I could really connect with that idea of somebody having to find a way, you know, to be in the world. And he really, you can see he was very ambitious. He really wanted to make it. He really wanted to do it. So that must have been a wrestle for him, you know, to be so shy and yet to, you know, to want world domination, you know. So that was very interesting for me.
Jekyll and Hyde persona.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of, yeah. What I think is fantastic with the film is it's that you get Philip's music and lyrics to move the story forward, and you really get a feeling that it's Philip who tells you his story with his own words and lyrics. Was that an idea from the start, or was it something that grew along the way in the process?
So it was certainly the hope from the beginning, right from the start, was that we would tell his story in his own words if we could. That, you know, that it wouldn't be other people speaking for him. It would be himself talking. And the three ways to do that were going to be, you know, that we would talk to people very close to him, so that they would be close friends and family who knew him well, so that they could reveal something behind the image. Then the second way was that we would find interview that where he spoke personally and deeply, and of course is part of my archive team, and an amazing you know, an amazing colleague and collaborator with me on the film, and we dug hard to try to find interview where Philip did reveal himself, and Par will say, I'm sure agree, it's actually pretty hard to find, because he was pretty adept at talking about the band and the tours and the gigs and the albums and all that, and actually deflected an awful lot of the conversation about his artistry or his songwriting or his personal life. You know, he wasn't comfortable going there. So, you know, that was a journey, and we did pretty well. I think we found some amazing pieces. And then, as you say, the songs. Then we spent a lot of time thinking, how can we let him speak? You know, not have people telling stories for him. Let him speak. And the songs are sitting there as this amazing resource. You know, where you can track his life and his thinking and his experiences and changes in him and in his songwriting and in his influences. So yeah, it was built on that. Although the very early idea was that it was like a life in 10 songs. It was going to be just 10 key songs that would tell it. And very quickly I had to throw that away because there was just too many great songs.
Yeah, he did too many great songs. Do you have anything you want to say about this, Per?
I mean, the only thing I think what you said about Philip being very private off stage and very shy, I think the very first song in the movie is kind of the only song where he really reveals, you know, that he isn't the person he's being portrayed as being or was being, you know. So I think that was a very sort of stroke of genius to open the film with that track.
Thank you. And actually, I had to fight hard to open the film with that track because, you know, filmmakers and producers and distributors, they want you to start with The Boys Are Back in Town, or, you know, they want you to start with the big number so that it's all out there immediately. Why do I want to know about this person? So I had to really state my case, you know, very carefully that that's somebody else's dream was the way to start it. And for me, it was always the way to start it because it was, as you say, he's properly revealing himself, asking you, do you know who I am? Do you think you know who I am? I don't even know who I am. You know, am I a lover, a father, a rock and roll star? What am I? So it was very important for me it's almost like setting out your stall. You know, this is what the film is going to try to answer. And secondly, and importantly, he was really in his prime, I think, in that performance. You know, it's 1981. You can see, you know, he's so beautiful and he's so confident, and the band is Huey Lewis, and, you know, he's really, the legs and the outfit, he had really perfected his image. So, you know, I think when I showed it to the family, the Lynott family, Caroline immediately said, you know, what a great way to start the film, quite apart from the amazing lyrics, but actually to see him looking so beautiful, you know, so perfect, you know. Yeah. Excuse me.
You're talking about his family here as well, and that's another key thing that differs from other documentaries we have seen about Philip earlier, and that we finally get to hear his former wife Caroline and his daughters Sarah and Kathleen. Did it require tough persuasion to get their participation?
That would be too strong. They were certainly cautious. They're very, very private people. Yeah. And, you know, it's a very painful part of their life. And you know, they were cautious and wanted to understand what sort of film I wanted to make, you know. And I think if I had been making a different kind of film, one that wasn't so, you know, I was careful. I wanted to look at the human being behind the story, behind the mask, and I wanted to treat Philip and his life, and in particular his later life and his death, with a great degree of dignity and respect and tenderness and compassion, you know. And so the family may well have needed a lot more persuasion if that wasn't what I was after, you know. And so we met very early, and, you know, we bonded very quickly. You know, I too lost a parent when I was just 4, you know, so we spoke very, very personally very quickly about, you know, the effect of that on your life, and how the memories are just half memories, you know, little fragments of memories. And then, of course, Sarah and Kathleen have a whole other layer, which is driving down a road and their father's voice comes on the radio, and, you know, always part of the bigger world, you know, that it's out there. So persuasion is too strong, because I didn't persuade them. I did get to know them and ask them to trust me. And I'm so privileged that they did, and I really feel the film needed close people to Philip to be in it, to work, you know, and not just his daughters, you know, but also women, you know, that it wasn't just a story of male rockers on the road, you know, but it's like this man's life.
Yeah, old guys in the couch telling stories. Yeah,
exactly.
We've seen that before. Yeah. What were the biggest challenges with the film?
Oh, the very biggest challenge was, well, there were two big challenges. One was to get the people to be interviewed in the film that I wanted to be interviewed, and 90% of the list I had, we achieved. You know, obviously there were great people like Frank Murray we couldn't interview because he's passed, sadly. Gary, you know, Robbo, various people that we would have loved. But most people that we approached, with two key exceptions, Brian Downey unfortunately declined to take part, which was a terrible sadness to us.
Yeah.
And also Philomena was too unwell to talk. And I miss her in the film too. But apart from that, everybody trusted us with their story, which was fantastic. And the other main challenge then was the songs, like what songs to include, you know. So Par saw my first list. It was about, I mean, as I said, we were firstly going to go for 10, but then we kind of settled on around 20. But the first list, I think I sent Par, had about 45 names on it, you know, and they were all like, this has to be in. How can we live without this song? And I still feel that way. You know, somebody was writing to me just today saying why I hadn't used Spirit Slips Away, you know, when he dies instead of Dear Heart. And you know, it's all very subjective. I got to choose, and I'm sure I got it wrong. My brother-in-law is a massive Lizzie fan. He literally can't bear that I have Showdown in it because he hates nightlife, you know, so.
Oh, you can't hate nightlife.
I know, I'm with you.
Okay, due to the
What
pandemic...
did you think of the song selection?
Pardon?
What did you think of the song selection?
It was an excellent song selection, and as I said, I think the songs moved the story forward in a perfect way. And so, I mean, I love almost everything that Phil ever written. So
okay, great.
But
great.
it was great. The music was great, really.
Great.
Due to the pandemic, the film had its actually the world premiere in Sweden in October in 40 cities. Yeah. That is amazing for a documentary of a rock star who passed away 35 years ago. But now it finally made it to the theaters in Ireland on Boxing Day. No, it didn't.
Sadly not. No, 3 days before 3 days before Christmas, they closed the cinemas.
Oh. So you don't have any response to the movie yet?
No, but all the reviews and all the interviews were all happening. So they were all going out anyway because it was the week before it was supposed to be going out. So we've had a lot of response online. We've had a lot of reviews and a lot of interviews and all that. So it's been fantastic, the response so far, but nobody has gotten to see the film yet, unfortunately.
Too bad. They have something to look forward to.
I hope so.
You have made 3 feature documentaries, right? That are very different from each other. So what's your next project?
Well, yeah, my next project is sticking with the theme of different from each other. I'm I'm turning to drama next.
Oh,
I have, yeah, I have 4 films in development, and 3 of them are dramas, and 1 is a documentary. So I
okay.
think the next one up is going to be a kind of a black comedy road movie starring with Olivia Colman, the wonderful English
Oh, she's
Oscar-winning actress.
fantastic. From The Favorite,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
She won
yeah.
an Academy Award for that one.
She sure
Yeah,
did. So she's coming hopefully over in the summer to work with us on that.
that sounds great. I'm looking forward to
Mm,
that one too. And
great.
in the meantime, I will probably see Songs for While I'm Away a couple of more times. So,
I hope you're great.
did you, Per, have anything more to say to
No,
Emer?
not really. I mean, only thing I can say is it's been such a great pleasure and honor to work with you, Emer. I think you really created something that I couldn't even dream of about in my wildest dream that it would turn out so good. So kudos to you for having sort of, added your part to keeping Philip's memory alive.
Oh, thank you, and you're very kind to say it, but really the pleasure was all mine. You were a massive asset to us right from the start. Power was this powerhouse of information and advice and pointing me in all the right directions, and it wouldn't be a fraction of the film without you, Par. So if you're happy, that makes me even more happy.
We were
Thank you.
happy.
Everyone's happy.
Everyone's
Yes.
happy, and we're
Yeah.
happy that we were able to talk to you today, this evening,
Thank you for having me
4th
on.
of January. So thank you so much, and thank you
I
for a
hope the
great.
rest of your evening goes wonderfully.
Thank you so much, and thank you for a great film.
Thank you, Emer.